The saga of Signer the Nameless and Eric the Hound.
Under the dark skies of the north, where hungry forests devour the light of the sun, and the howls of wolves rend the silence, they hunted Raric through the wilderness like a wild beast. The air was filled with the rustling of leaves and the dull echo of the footsteps that followed him. The followers of the dead Hrothgar, driven by a bloody vengeance, not by loyalty, but by the unyielding code of honor. For a man without honor could not breathe in this world, so it was the drive code that the followers avenged the fallen Jarl. Not out of affection, but to escape the ignominy of having outlived their master. Even Hrothgar's relatives did not wholeheartedly order the murderous persecution. To them Hrothgar had been a stone in their shoe, an unholy curse that made more enemies than friends. Still they had to act to preserve their own reputation, and they put out a bounty as custom and law demanded. Raric from the woods, his bloody axe in hand, his heart wild as a storm in his chest. His pursuers also knew the path, but his wild determination and the strength of his mind kept him from the cold kiss of death. He left traps behind him, and like a berserker he attacked the unwary. And when night fell, he merged with the shadows of death, a hunter in the darkness. But the number of his pursuers was as great as the leaves on the trees. Soon he was driven to the brink of exhaustion, the relentless pack of hunters ever closer. So the enemies pushed him to the banks of a raging river, whose waters raged against the rocks like the furious Fafnir. The voices of his foes sounded like the howling of hungry wolves. Their shadows were spread like death, bringing demons over the forest. Raric paused, breathing heavily, the axe useless against the enemy's superior numbers. There was no other choice, so he handed himself over to the All-Father's hand. With a desperate roar, he plunged into the greedy floods. The icy water hungrily engulfed him with a hissing gurgle. The men on the shore stopped as the waves swallowed the prey. No mortal could survive the river's wrath, they knew that. The man is dead, his thread of fate severed, they said to each other, full of secret joy at ending the hunt. For the angry spirits of revenge who sent many of them to Valhalla. Few sought the body to claim the bounty, however they did not find Raric's body. But the will of the gods was different, and the Nords continued to spin. Raric did not find his watery grave in dark depths. Trembling and exhausted he emerged from the man-killing stream. Without looking back, he set out to leave the land of his torment. Signer the Nameless in the lands of the Norwegians. Raric Bloodaxe forever buried himself in oblivion before his enemies. As a mercenary, he served many a king and jarl who valued his qualities as a warrior, but distrusted his free, unruly spirit. A good fighter is this dark warrior, they said, but his rebellious nature does not fit into the ranks of a loyal following. And so Signer the Nameless wandered the lands as a hired sword, covered in deadly glory, but cast aside when the deed was done. A man without roots, who knew death and sought a new beginning. Also Eric Ragnarsson, a man of great ambition and little renown, his name not sung by skalds, and his fame as pale as the first lights of morning. Mocked as the dog for serving his predecessor like an unworthy servant, yet in his heart burned a fire brighter than the flames of Mimir. The irrepressible greed for fame and riches that consumed him. One day a merchant came before Eric, whose tongue tasted of the salt of many seas, whose eyes bore witness to the splendor of distant empires. The trader told of a place beyond the waves, an island so rich in treasure that it could blind even the sun itself. It was called Lindisfarne, a Christian monastery, a highly renowned hoard of books and gold. wise men and monks who did not know how to use weapons. It was unprotected and located off the coast of Northumbria, a kingdom of the Saxons. Like the cunning Loki, Eric listened to the guest's words, his thoughts not turning to the saints or the wisdom of the monks, but delighting in the thought of the hidden treasures in the halls of the Christians, worthy to be guarded by the great Fafnir. Shining gold and shimmering silver, waiting unguarded. Unthinkable, said Eric, his voice a deep growl of Fenrir. A treasure guarded by the weak, if it may be true, an opportunity that seems sent by Thor himself. So Eric Ragnarsson called the followers to the raid, full of greed and hope. The earth should be red with the blood of the Christians in honor of the gods, and the Skål should sing of his glory. The monastery's treasures would serve as the foundation of his kingdom. However, the Jarl could not believe that no warriors protected the holy place. The men in his following were loyal, but their numbers and experience were limited. So he sought those who feared neither death nor the wrath of the gods. Svarhofst, Hulda, Hilda, och jag färdiga allok. Svarhofst Hulda Hilder och Jack Femiligger Örlog. So John had met Sinar. In the meantime, that band of experienced mercenaries, men without mercy, throwing their lives away for a handful of shimmering silver, following the favor of Thor on his dark path. The dog promised the nameless one treasures and glory. A place in my house and a share of the spoils that I offer you, said the hound, but more than that, I offer you a return to the world from which you fled. For the sons of the Skåls remember only those who write their destiny in blood and steel. Sinar, tired of wandering and hurry for a new home, swore allegiance to the Jarl and make you the blood oath before Odin, and follow you with my men until death. So a pact of blood and gold was forged. So the hound prepared his ships and set out on his raid, with Sinar and his mercenaries in his wake. So they rode into the endless desolation of the sea, sing cruel songs of glory and death. The sky over the sea took on a reddish hue, a worthy omen of the bloodshed to come, and the Aesir smiled. But I gotta Aesir smile